Well, I finally got a new microphone, and as you can see, it is a much higher quality one than I had before. So let's start off 2019, finally, by looking at the last issue of Spider-Girls, finally. So yeah, just a recap of what happened before. They're trying to figure out how to use these magic scrolls that it looks like only Mayday can use, and it looks like there's actually an explanation for. They're actually bothering to explain in this spin-off book what was going on with her spider sense all throughout the main book. They had a mini series and a 23 issue run of the main book, and they didn't bother to explain it. Now in this spin-off book that's tied into a giant event where you have to buy 50,000 different issues and all their variant covers, at least according to Marvel, to get it all, that's when they finally explain it. Modern Marvel editorial for you people. And they wonder why these events aren't selling the way that they used to. So anyway, it starts off with Mayday recapping how she's different from her father by the fact that her father got his powers accidentally, whereas she was born with her powers, so she doesn't know what it's like to be normal. And there are the two spider vampire people. Honestly, I forget what they're called because I didn't read the first two events. They were done during my 10-year hiatus from reading Spider Man comics. There were a bunch of people turned into spiders in Norman Osborn's lab, and they're going to eat them. Apparently, they live forever as long as they keep eating people who have become spiders. I don't know. It makes no sense. Why can't they eat regular people or regular spiders? I don't know. If they have the technology to jump dimensions, can't they just make spiders giant and eat them? I don't get it. So Mayday is told to stay behind because well, not Annie May is told by Mayday to stay behind because she knows just how dangerous these two are. After all, these things did kill her father, something that Tom DeFalco still rejects to this day. And, and Anna tells her to work with the scrolls since she's the only one who has been able to get any sort of reaction from the magic scrolls. She doesn't want to, but but Mayday points out that they promised her parents that they'd keep her safe, and she takes that very seriously here. So instead, she decides to show them where where Norman Osborn Jr. keeps his robot stuff, while these guys take it. Will eat spiders, and then well, well, something awesome happens. A giant Mayday and Anna are in the giant robot suit. They fight guys when they don't really know what any of the buttons do. I say just hit all the weapons. Since you know they're so strong, use all the weapons. But whatever. Mayday finally starts to make some sort of connection with the scrolls and see something useful. These guys are so strong they actually make short work of the giant robot. But then the scrolls cause all the humans that were turned into spiders to turn back into humans. So now they can't eat them. But Mayday and Anna make it to Annie Mae, who has opened up a portal and sent them to another world. And they all jump in and get to another world and look like idiots as they try to go through a portal and hit the floor instead. Naturally, they're a little angry about this. Now, if I were of a hero team, I'd be concerned about these villains taking out their anger on all the civilians present, being that spiders or not, but apparently that just doesn't happen. So they are on something called the Loom World. It has something to do with the web of life or something, some mystical stuff that was brought into Peter Parker's origin story at some point, I think by Dan Slott. Again, I haven't read much of Dan Slott, so I can't say. All I can say is that none of the ideas he came up with for Spider-Man, from making him mystical, making him a magic-based hero, to, and I know some of that started under Straczynski, and as much as I loved Straczynski's run, I didn't like his going all mystical. Nothing in comics is ever scientifically accurate. Nothing in science fiction is ever 100% scientifically accurate. So to me, that's not a good excuse for taking a science-based hero and turning him into a mystical based hero. But there's something called the web of life that connects all spiders to each other. Basically, it's the force for people with spider powers, and it connects them throughout the multiverse. But apparently, its source has been killed on this or something. But anyway, yeah, it turns out going through the portal uses up scrolls. I guess it's like a power up in your inventory in a video game. I don't know. And it's a and anyway, now they can finally read the scroll. It says that there are four important people: the other, the bride, the session, and the pattern maker. What is that? Another totem? I'm not sure. The Spider Society never mentioned that one. Something about reading the connecting threads of a web, forging them into something stronger. Is that supposed to be me? Because I don't know what that even means. Hey, join the club, Annie. And and Mayday goes into the story of how her brother Benji is apparently the session, and and she's had to protect him all these years her father since Peter died in her dimension. And then here's what really sells this book and why I wish Spider Girls was an ongoing, or at least something from Jody Hauser was. To me, every one of his books in this free issue miniseries has had some special moment like this. She gets it right. Too often nowadays in Marvel books, you either get character moments, you either get 30 pages of character moments with no action, or you get lots of awesome action and no character moments. This book gets the balance right. It puts just enough character moments to make you care, with with awesome action and actually having a point to the story. That's something Jody Hauser excels in, and it seems to me that by taking away, by putting the bad artists on Renew Your Vows, so that the book would get canceled just because they didn't like it outselling the Amazing Spider-Man, Marvel cut off their nose to spite their face, because she's also proving this with her current run on Stranger Things. She knows how to get the exact balance right between action, adventure, and character moments and make them feel seamlessly integrated into each other. So by getting rid of her, they've actually done themselves a huge disservice, a massive disservice. She is one of the best writers in modern comics right now, if you ask me, and they just ditched her. There's a great moment here that's a payoff to what we found out in issue 1. I I found out really recently. I mean, my mom told me there was a May in my world. I would have had an older sister if she had, and I know you're not, but it's nice to know what she might have been like. That she would have been a hero too. We're Parkers. That counts for a lot in any universe. And the web connecting us all connects all us spiders, right? It's a great character moment. This is just great stuff. It's heartfelt and it fits into the plot perfectly. It doesn't derail the plot and it doesn't stop the exciting adventure story. Again, there's this budding sort of sister relationship between Mayday and Annie Mae that is working so well here. And I just wish this was an ongoing series because my goodness, watching that go on, watching that build up would have been great. And it would have been so easy. All you have to do is leave these spider eater people, these spider vampire people, as a threat out there. Have them have to get as many scrolls as possible, and whenever you think the book might be getting dull or you're getting tired of a setting, you have an infinite number of settings. They can just jump to another universe to look for another scroll. Simple. But yeah, so they find a little bit of this web of life stuff, which apparently is a physical thing that they think the pattern maker, who they've pretty much figured out is Annie at this point, might be able to use, and so they decide to jump off and where they're most needed. And then we get to be concluded in Spider-Geddon number 5, which means, oh, I'm gonna have to read Spider-Geddon number 5. But yeah, here's another thing: is that there's a very nice message from Miss Hauser at the end of the book here. And it's like, as someone who loves alternate universes since I was a kid, getting to write a Marvel comic set in one was an absolute dream. But an AV Spider-Man, AU Spider-Man, Spider-Fam really, I've taken to calling them, so she had the same fault I did. Go back and watch my number 2 review to see that I also had this fault. I thought the book from the beginning should be called The Amazing Spider-Fam. It's less clunky than The Amazing Spider-Man rule Renew Your Vows, and it reflects the content of the book better. A comic, a privilege, especially considering the creators I was following in the footsteps of. Peter's endless dad jokes, his awkward friendship with Logan, his utter devotion to both being a hero and his family, MJ's attempts at being the voice of reason, professional struggles, and unresolved loss, and of course Annie coming into her own as both a teenager and spiderling, testing boundaries and trying her parents' trust. Spider-Man really had it rarely had it easy. They are Parkers after all, but there was never a question of how much they love each other. Hopefully we'll make it back to Earth 18119 someday, but in the meantime I wanted to thank everyone who followed this fun slice of Spider-Verse. It's been an amazing ride. And all I can say is I agree with every word you just said, Jody. And this is a perfect example of why I wish Something by You was the main Spider-Man book, and why I wish you didn't have people like Joe Quesada holding you back. You know, it's all well and good for Marvel to talk about feminism, but you'll notice that once a female writer seems to disagree with the vision and actually make a better vision for the characters than a male editor, she gets deliberately sabotaged, and then her book gets canceled. So yeah, what do I think of this issue? This issue had it all: action, character moments. The only thing that bugs me is that now my next review will have to be Spider-Geddon number 5, which I was trying to avoid that main big event. But yeah, I liked everything in it, so this is a 9 out of 10 for me. So yeah, I hope you liked this review, and thanks for watching. Goodbye.